there, and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. Thanks for joining me today because I've got a fabulous recipe for you. It's out of book 2 and also the Cooking for 1 or 2 book as well, and it's the beef stroganoff. Now if you're going, oh, I don't remember a beef stroganoff, Annette. Well, you're right, because in book 2, which is the recipe that we're making today, it's actually in the chicken section. So yeah, you were right. And what I've done is I've decided to give you the variation. So here it is, chicken stroganoff, but in the variation you can either use rump or veal. So I just thought, let's do a variation for something different. So as I said, book 2, that's the recipe we're working on today, and you'll also find it in the Cooking for 1 or 2. So it serves 4 or serves 2. Now, before we get into the recipe, let's talk about last week's show. It was the honey prawn stir fry, and we had a bit of a celebration last week because it was our 3rd year anniversary on the show. So everyone was excited about the prizes, but we do have the 3 lucky winners, and it's the fabulous Ingrid Crantis, well done Ingrid, Pam Suter, and Sally Ann. Look, you know, you guys have been such supporters. I'm so glad that you were the winners from that show because you got to pick lots of goodies. So they're in the mail, so look out for them. But for today, it's all about the stroganoff. Now, originally, just let me mention, this is a Russian recipe and it was invented back in the 19th century. But no, in 1999, a young lass named Annette changed it. That's right. We are talking a different version of stroganoff. So let's look at the ingredients we need. So we need, because we're doing the rump, it's 600 grams of the lean rump. So it's the fat's been taken off the side. It's looking fabulous. If you're doing the variation, it'd be veal steaks or it'd be the skinless chicken breast. So it's 600 grams. I need a cup of sliced onion, some garlic, mushrooms, tomato paste, paprika, stock powder, evaporated milk, corn flour, and the secret ingredient. And I will explain that as we go, and that's gherkin. Yes, what is a gherkin doing in stroganoff? Well, you'll find out. So let's start prepping. I'm going to do the onion first. So let's chop up the onion and get that done. Now it's sliced, so you can either slice it, do it in half, but I like to do it in quarters, and we need 1 cup. So let's just, don't do big thick slices of onion, you just want normal slices, and you need a cup. So let's have a look. See, this is the difference for me and some of the other chefs, is that they'll just guess it and throw it in, whereas I don't work that way. I like to measure. And of course I have to, because at the end of it, you get the nutritional breakdown. And so if I'm just guessing what it is, how can I give you an accurate reading of the nutritional breakdown? Because this is a fantastic low-fat version, because traditionally, I don't know, 25, 30 grams of fat, because the base ingredients is sour cream. So now we're going to chop up the mushrooms. We want 3 cups of sliced mushrooms. And so when I'm talking about stroganoff, as I said, traditionally sour cream. Oh no, Annette Sym does not go there, because I'm all about not only helping you to lose weight, but to also have a healthy heart. And we don't want the high saturated fats, because that's what I look at. It's about getting a low saturated fat diet, but still having the food you love. Now, I loved stroganoff when I was 100 kilos, and I wasn't prepared to give it up when I started to get healthy. So this is where I started inventing all my recipes. And as I said, in 1999, when I launched book 2, I launched the healthy version. And so what I do is straight up, I'm using a really lean cut of meat, whereas normally the Russian version would be, you know, like a poorer quality meat and much higher in fat. So we're looking at the fats there, which is fantastic, and a little bit more mushrooms. Now what they do in a traditional stroganoff is they add butter and oil to the cooking, as well as the fatty meat. Then they'll do sour cream. So this is where I've changed it. So I don't use sour cream. What do I use? Of course, it's the trusty evaporated light milk. That's right. So we need a can of that. 3 cups, looking fantastic. Put that over there. Now, what I'm going to chop up next is my secret ingredients, and that is the gherkin. Now, why? Because what I love about the gherkin is it gives you the tang, and that's what you get in the sour cream. So what you're going to do is thinly slice your gherkin. You want 2. You need this in the recipe, otherwise it will just not taste like a stroganoff. And cut them into really thin slices and then finely dice. Because like I was able to trick my kids for years. They never knew that gherkin was in there because they weren't big fans of it. But if you just do it really finely, like I'm doing now, it will just blend into the recipe. But it gives you that tang because obviously it's the vinegar that's in the gherkin that really helps. So make sure it's nice and fine. No one's going to know about it. And you will have a terrific, low-fat, healthy stroganoff to enjoy. All right. So that's great. With the, with this type of recipe, you'll find that it will freeze for, maybe 2 or 3 weeks because of the milk. It doesn't freeze longer, but it certainly works well. Now, I think I've chopped everything. No, I've got to do the steak. Oh my gosh. All right, so 600 grams. Now, you want to cut just strips. It's not diced. You want strips. All right. And lean is the way to go. Now, this is where you save on a lot of fats as well, is because look at this beautiful rump. It's just so good. And this serves 4 people. It's 8.6 grams of fat for a serve of the beef. And if you're using the chicken, it's 4.2, which using skinless chicken breast. And the veal is 4.5. So you could make this every couple of weeks with a different protein, and I've also done it with tofu, firm tofu, yeah. You're making the same recipe, so you're really familiar, you know what you're doing, but no one's getting bored because really it changes the flavour. When you go from chicken to beef, for example, the stroganoff is different. I mean, I don't say one's better than the other, and the reason that I did the chicken was because not many people thought to do chicken stroganoff. It was always veal or beef. So I wanted to do my little spin on it. So I'm going to turn my trusty wok on because we're going to start cooking this meat. And what you'll do is just brown it off because you don't want to cook it all the way through because we're going to leave it in. You know, a lot of my stir fries, we tend to add the meat and then we remove it and add it back in. But with this recipe, the beef stays in the whole time. Now, I serve this with rice. A lot of people would say, oh no, I want mashed potato with it, but I like my stroggy with rice. What do you put with your stroganoff? Do you do noodles? Because that's another traditional way. Yeah. All right. We are looking good. Remember, this was 600 grams, really lean. I'm going to put some cooking spray in. And I'm going to slowly add the meat. Let me move this along so I can bring my wok over. And let's put a teaspoon of garlic in now because I really want that garlic to really get in with the beef and really kick it up. I love me some garlic, that's for sure. And here we go. Now we want to keep that sizzle going, so don't just throw the whole lot in. Just bit by bit. My gosh, I've been really loving all these sessions that I've been doing this month. especially the one on Tuesday, because it's called, Home Ec with Annette, so you're actually cooking with me. And on the first show, we all cooked scones, and this week's show was the crunchy nut chicken from book 2, and it's just a delicious, delicious recipe. So I'm going to just move this out of the way and wash my little meat hands. Get that all clean. I did wash my hands for the 20-second thing before we started. I hope you're doing that when you cook. Now just mix that garlic in with the meat. As I said, this serves 4. And I like to serve veggies with it. I don't know why, but I do. And the nights are getting a bit cooler now, so veggies are probably a better idea. Now what we do is, remember I've chopped everything up, so I'm all ready to go. So this is what makes it quick and easy. In goes the onion. Let's just cook that for just a couple of minutes. And you can always watch the other shows if you want, because just scroll down or click onto videos and you'll see the videos that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. As well, if you're got a friend that goes, oh, I'd really like to watch Annette cook, but we're not on Facebook, well, go to Symply Too Good, remember with the SY, on YouTube. Is that right, Bill? Simply Too Good? YouTube / Symply Too Good, and all the shows are there. I know. All right, mushies. Remember we chopped them up? Now, if you're saying, oh, Annette, don't like mushrooms, well, I've got nothing for you, because traditionally, this is how a stroganoff works. Yes, you could swap it for 3 cups. Well, not even 3 cups of other vegetables, because what happens with mushrooms is it really, sinks down. It goes probably down to half of what it is. And so you really want to think about, maybe a story. Remember I mentioned about my kids, how I sort of fooled them for years? Well, stroganoff was something we made all the time because I love it, it's easy. And I was doing a show called Brisbane Extra back in the days, very popular show in Brizzy, and I made the stroganoff. Now the kids were watching it and they went, Mum, why did you put mushrooms in the stroganoff? Oops. I got sprung because you know what? The kids didn't like mushrooms and they'd been eating it for years. What did I do? I chopped it up into little dices and they had no idea. Seriously, they wouldn't eat it for about 2 years. Can you believe it? I know, fussy little things. Oh gosh, that's going back a way. Okay, now I've got my gherkin. It's going in. Very important ingredient. Tomato paste. You want 2 tablespoons. And it's the no salt added because we want healthy too. And then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of, now in this recipe it's beef, so I'm doing beef stock, the Marcel. You can, let me just turn that down a bit. With chicken or veal, you can just, well, with chicken obviously you do the chicken, and with the veal you could decide whether you do chicken or beef. I don't think it'd matter. I'd probably go beef. Now I've got also a tablespoon of paprika. So let's put that in and fold this all together. Now paprika is a very traditional part of a stroganoff. I made the mistake once of putting hot paprika in it. We couldn't eat it. It was like putting a tablespoon of chili in. So always make sure when you're looking at paprika that it doesn't say hot, okay? You do not want a hot paprika unless you really like to burn your mouth. Oh, this is looking fabulous. The smell is amazing. So now our last thing, I mean, gosh, look how easy this recipe is. As usual, it's chop it all up, chuck it in the pot and cook it. Let's just do the evaporated light milk. Now, if you're dairy free, you could replace this with the no-fat almond milk. I'm putting a tablespoon of corn flour in, but if I was doing almond, I'd probably do 2 tablespoons because it is a bit runnier. In we go. Oh yeah. Now we're just going to bring this to the boil, and can I just give you a little tip when you're working with evaporated like milk? You do not want to overboil the milk. And I say this in my updated versions, I tell you to be careful because it will separate. It's not like cream where you can boil it to death. No, it's a bit more sensitive, needs a little bit of love and care. And what it is that you get it to the boil and then either turn it off or just reduce it down. You don't want it boiling, boiling, boiling because it will separate. The thing is, if it does separate, it's okay, you can still eat it. It just doesn't look that fizzy. All right, so now let's look at this. I'm just bringing this to boil. I mean, dinner's done. I mean, how fantastic. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Chicken stroganoff, guilt-free, beef stroganoff, veal stroganoff. What are you going to pick for yourself this week? All right, so that's boiling. I'm going to turn it off. Now, just be aware that we have 3 shows again next week. So you need to join me for my home ec class on Tuesday because I'm going to be making, I'm very excited about this, apple crumble. It's from book 2. Oh God, we're loving a bit of book 2 right now, but you have to be here. You need to get the ingredients so you can cook it with me or get the kids in the kitchen. The thing is, if you don't have book 2, go to the website, simplytoogood.com.au and download the recipe. I've got you covered. So let's have a look at this. So Tuesday, apple crumble, cooking class. We'll make it together. Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about budgeting your meals and how to use up leftovers and things like. We need to be watching our dollars right now. I thought this was very appropriate. And then on the traditional show next Thursday is Mexican chicken bake from book 6 as well as book 1. But be ready for next week's show because it's my birthday. That's right. 23rd of April, I came into the world. That's right. And there's going to be a bit of a fabulous giveaway because why not? It's my birthday. So let's look at this. Now, when you look at this plate, here's my half a plate of veggies. This is how Annette rolls. I've got my carbohydrate there, and now I've got my beautiful stroganoff going here. So this is bliss on a plate. That's right. Chicken, beef or veal stroganoff, up to you. Today it was beef. And you know what, if you want to win book 2, you just have to like, share. You know what you've got to do on Thursdays? Hashtag Symply #2 good. Remember, it's got to be SYMPLY #2 good. And I will pick 3 fabulous winners, and you can choose whether you want book 1, a book cooking for 1 or 2, or book 2, up to you. Alrighty, so there we go. There's my chicken, beef or veal stroganoff, whatever you want it to be. But today I said it's beef with my veggies. Dinner is good to go, and really it's only 8.6 grams of fat for this stroganoff. Do you think you want to make it this week? Yeah. All right, guys, have an awesome week. I'm going to catch you back at 2 o'clock on Tuesday when I'm going to be making the apple crumble. So take care, and I'll see you then. Bye now.